Well, hello, and welcome to the deleted scenes for OSW 108 and 109, Halloween Havoc and Warrior Farewell, the last brace of episodes of the Ultimate Warrior in WCW arc. Here's where I'll go through the making of the vids and show you what didn't make the final episode, the deleted scenes that were left on the cutting room floor. Now, most of these were just cut for pacing, because I'm hoping to hold your attention for almost 100 minutes, so they're not bad, you just wouldn't miss it if it were gone. I'm going to go through the episodes chronologically and chime in with any notes I have as we go along. Enjoy! Our bra James Carlson made us a cool Halloween-style Halloween Havoc intro that we used to promote the vid. Wish we could have put it in the main episode, but it has the Halloween theme, which got copyright snagged, but link to the full thing in the description. Ooh, the Batman metal intro. Absolutely adore this version Lame Genie did for us. Whopper job, guys. Did you know it was the first song we collabed on? It went so well, I asked the guys to do us a montage song for Warrior's film, Firepower, although that was released publicly first. Initially, the track was gonna be the theme song to the entire Warrior in WCW arc, but we wanted to push Ryan's orchestral version to help drive traffic to his wife's GoFundMe, which was successful, by the way. Awesome! So this got moved to the main event of the arc, Halloween Havoc. And I wanted the orchestral version so people get the reference a lot better, and then this can be a kind of a dark version. It's amazing, I really love it. Side note, okay, two-take Jay here, always redoing stuff. The song initially had a sadder type unresolved ending, so I asked if they'd redo it into an upbeat one. Sorry, I don't know the proper music term for it, but have a listen. They also uploaded a slightly different version to their own channel, which you can check out, link below. Link to all of his stuff will be in the description. Boy Stable / Random Splicey by Dan McRae. Shout out to our boy Cass and his bras in Maryland. Amazing Boy Stable, giving OSC his biggest inner conflict. He hates What Bar, but loves OSW tattoos. It's weird because they're both running gags. By the way, I think just What Bar, he doesn't like it because it was a joke, and the joke ran its course basically, so he's sick of hearing it. Which only makes it quite funny when we keep doing it. And it's one of the only things that we get given out to if we don't include in an episode What Bar.
Hey, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know.
This episode included top 10 favourite sets. I love doing little videos in videos, as it's a bit of a mark of pride, because you might see on other channels they just do top 10s as a thing, but that's just a part of OSW videos. My favourite bit is seeing people pick up on the Night of Champions banners. The ECW belt is actually the Cruiserweight belt but photoshopped on. Is that better or worse than the Impact sticker? Jericho Raven. OSC asks if us singing the Come As You Are by Nirvana would get copyright matched by YouTube. Honestly, depending on how close it is, maybe. Our Hobbit 2 video, chiptune version of the, that Light the Forge's amazing Lord of the Rings song, was actually nabbed by YouTube for sharing the same melody. Melody, not the song. I'd never seen that before, for basically a MIDI sequence. For an unlisted video. Anyway, I'll link you to that if you want to hear the whole thing. It's fucking amazing. Spencer Friesen did a great job. Finley versus Funboy. Wow, it's Boyapalooza for V1. I wish we got a little bit more of Alex Wright during this arc because he has such huge potential to become a featured boy. I thought the same about Horace Hogan, but he still managed to become the top human for OSW's Hall of Fame. The winner was the NWO theme, which just a clean sweep in all its awards.
Mattel Electronics presents the 17 Bomber.
Oh man, check it out. Oh man, I love this BK Bomber art by Artman Jones 753. So I had to include it on the episode. Top job, mate. Hearing OSC break down Conan's music video, talking about homies and bouncy cars, it's hilarious. Giving out about the strain on the suspension and probably damage over time to other parts of the car. Very Partridge-esque. V1's quip, it's okay, they'll just rob another one. It was so funny, but this close to getting cut out. It's the punchline to the entire bit, so I really didn't want to cut it, and I trust our fans that you'd know that there's no actual malice behind it. Plus we're Irish and taking the piss, kind of what we do, and sure Conan and the lads are famous superstars, so it doesn't, so it's grand. There isn't many deleted scenes, as if the topic is significant enough, I'll work it into the sister show, the Warrior Farewell, but the bulk of the deleted scenes are here in the Scott and Giant versus Rick and Buff match, where if the babyfaces win, Rick can face Scott Steiner. We've a snippet cut for time, and also I've trimmed the analysis of part 1 as kind of getting to part 2 quicker, made for a more pleasant segment. Which is?
The real OOC special.
Yeah.
Which is walking to the ring having a smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love,
Yeah.
as you know, but fuck you, that's my thing. You got to admire the balls on him. And I'd bet you anything he went backstage and nobody said a word.
Yeah.
Where did he put it out?
Oh, on the mat. I assume I didn't see, but I
Just
assume
burned a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
He just burned a hole in the fucking
In the
plastic
mat, yeah.
mats
I'd
or
say so,
rubber
yeah.
mats, whatever the fuck they're made out of.
Oh, the balls on that lad.
Wow. I mean, they're probably actually massive as well, you know? He is a giant.
What do you think, V1?
I actually liked this. So far, it was my favorite thing on the show. The swerve was a bit too much, because 1, we all saw coming, and 2, it's like 1 or 2 weeks after Brett doing the exact same thing. He faked turning on Hogan.
Oh, yeah, with Sting,
And then he sided with Sting, and then they had a tag match, and then he turned on Sting. It's literally the same angle 2 weeks later. Damn it, Tilo. But the fans perked up for it, and I had fun watching it.
I enjoyed it also. Really enjoyed, yeah.
Smoking Sting.
I loved Giant smoking, and I love Buff's big swerve. I didn't like Giant going down so easy for the 1, 2, 3 after a lower mid-carder finish, used his finisher on him. That's not acceptable.
Oh, when he got up for the top rope dropkick, Rick could have suplexed him off it.
Oh, that would be nice. Oh, yeah, I like that. And he could do it as well.
It'd be a lot easier since he's already halfway up, so he only has to come down as well.
It would also be an easier bump, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually think that Buff versus Rick could have been a solid mid-card feud as well.
Yep.
Vampire on C64. My bro Greg pitched this song ages ago, but I had to hold off until we did another Halloween Havoc, spooky time. Greg would just do the death jingle at me out of nowhere when it popped me huge. He'd just be like, Anyway, play that game over and over back in the 80s. The Sid Chip music on the Commodore is so badass, so unique, recognizable. Is that your man? I was going to say L. Ron Hubbard. This guy on screen.
Brett Hitman Clark.
Brett Hitman Clark. I have a Google Docs of things that I come across that make me laugh and I want to put into a future OSW. This was on it. I had to keep tight-lipped for a while until we recorded another Brett match with Buffer announcing. And here we go. Buffer, a lifelong fan of money. And V1 goes into a shtick about the backstage blasts as well. Really cool shoehorning these into OSW. There's only 17 of the Nitro backstage blasts from July 98 to June 99. But if we're in the time period, I'll give V1 these versions so he can bring it up on the show and give out about it, really. Also, I had to mention my favourite one, Saturn walking in a big circle to get out of doing a promo. Magic. There is one we never got around to mentioning, which sucks. It's like Hennig was blindsided being asked about his great personal friend Rick Rude passing away just days after it happened, and Kurt tries to maintain cutting a promo, but you can see he's angrily upset about having a camera shoved in his face and asked about it. It's worth mentioning, so I'm glad to say it here anyway.
Well, you certainly know what you're in for. If I can bring it down for just a second, we just have a little bit of time. Condolences to the loss of a very good friend of yours and ours, Rick Rude. How did you find out about it? What's the last couple of weeks been like for you and your relationship with the family?
Well, I don't believe that's anybody's business. You know what really burns my ass? So the people that live in that Atlanta area, the people that Rick Rude made a lot of money for, the people that knew Rick Rude that didn't show up to his funeral, the stuff like that. You know what? It's built up something it's a frustration that only I can control. I'm telling you right now, wrestling lost one of its greatest athletes and one of its best money makers, and I lost my best friend. And we'll see what happens. The next couple of weeks, you're going to see a new Curt Hennig, because I think this should be a wake-up call for a lot of people, and I think it certainly was one for me. And my condolences to his family and his wife, and Rick knows the way I felt about him, and what else can be said?
And talk about the great equalizer and how everything seems so less important in the light of something like this, and you know, our best wishes are with you.
Just let me tell you this: next time you want to do an interview with me, you come and ask me first.
Bret's Batman Batshot montage was all Chris from Reload Last Save, who was the main editor for the episode. Amazing job, mate. I laughed seeing it. Excellent job all round, mate. Since it was Bret's last pay-per-view appearance on the Ark, I needed to get the historic El Dandy promo in there too. Did you notice I called him a jam-up guy? January, just around the corner, where he'd help out a real jam-up guy, giving the rub to El Dandy.
Oh my God.
In his, most famous promo.
El Dandy, I think you're a heck of a wrestler, you're a great technician in the ring, and you're a jam-up guy. Whoa. I don't see any reason...
Wait a minute.
Jam-up guy? It was the Herald Ryan from Wrestling Bios doing the Ad-Break Questionarium. He edited that bit himself, which really helped me out. Such a lovely guy in general. I'm onto him behind the scenes a lot. Just, what a great guy. He was able to source and send OC and myself PS5s. Because we can't get them in Ireland. There's an insane shortage of them, but they're more readily available up north. So he was able to help us out and get them sent down. It's like, oh, what a great guy. Oh, thank you, mate. What a jam-up guy.
Please. He's a great wrestler.
He's a great wrestler, but my goodness sakes, it's 50 pounds
difference.
Who
are you to doubt El Dandy?
And now back to the lads and back to Halloween Havoc.
Okay, right after the Ad-Break Questionarium, I had the big intro comic animation for Hogan Warrior, drawn by the wonderful Donald Kirby and animated by the very talented Chris Nyes. But the ABQ featured a cartoon, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, and the comic animation is also very cartoony, so I didn't want them directly back to back. So I did a VO, including an ad for World War III. So it's actually I recorded it after the show and just jotted it in there. It's only 25 seconds, but it's enough to separate them. Cut from the network version, here's an ad for December's World War III. It came after the main event, but I'm not ending on an ad, so here's an exclusive. Get ready for the ultimate, penultimate matchup. There, it's smashing kayfabe, but when V1 says exclusive, that V1 is ripped from a different episode. I do this sometimes to avoid asking V1 to record himself saying one word, because obviously when you kind of record stuff cold, it's different than when you're actually in the recording session as well. Anyway, you can see that's how I'm sneaky. Sneaky like the Japanese. They are a little sneaky. I capped off the match with a quickie re-review of WrestleMania 6. Like, going back to it after all these years, I was shocked how homoerotic the bout was. I tried to be as descriptive and varied as possible. And Chris from Reload That Save and Zach from Tap Out Corner both did sexy edits of the bout. I used a combination of both for the final video. I love how Chris spells Vinny with a Y. It's a lot more dirtier than Vinnie for Vinnie Mac. Anyway. Jeez, this video is freaking stacked, isn't it? For the main event, we went all out and collabed with Fraser of Cub Studio to do the history of the WCW title since the NWO was born. I adore his art style. It's so slick and beautiful. I remember originally I wanted a giant DDP head at the end, but Fraser was like, it looks naff. So we settled on a DDP text and figure instead. I think it looks amazing. My favourite part was Fraser sent me a vid of his son repeating my call at the end of the vid. The spear, jackhammer, spear, jackhammer. Oh, it's so cute. Spicy.
Spear, jackhammer, spear, jackhammer.
It's just such a big smile watching it. Anyway, I was real happy with how the match review turned out. I had a lot of breakdown of how DDP was able to get the absolute best out of Goldberg, making sure Page gets the credit he deserves. Aftermath 2K custom footage. What do I get the really talented lads from ProWrestlingMods.io to do? Sculpt Horace Hogan for me. They did way too good a job for Horace Hogan. Did Warrior as well. Gorgeous coat, look at that. And the Halloween Havoc set, really cool. Jeez, these guys did amazing work. Thanks so much to @JoeMashups, @B4GTV, and @2KLive_, and all the lads at ProWrestlingMods.io. Amazing work, guys. Wrapping up Warrior's career, I decided to cut into two: the post-WCW career on the pay-per-view, since most people would see it, and going into depth with just the end of his WCW career on the following episode, Warrior Farewell. I struggled a bit on how much scummy stuff I should splice in. Warrior was very lucky to have kind of fizzled and forgotten by the time social media took off. Dude said some extremely hate-filled, flat-out wrong, despicable stuff. He'd be deservedly crucified.
Because queering doesn't make the world work.
It's a tough balance as it must be addressed, but I'm also trying to keep OSW light and easygoing. OSW, a break from the cuntiness of the real world. I think we treaded the line well enough, hopefully, and ended on a high looking at the positives. FYI, there was originally video footage of the final message. I thought just using the Warrior face paint logo and music was a stronger finish. Okay, so right now you can see what we use, which was the face paint, and here's how it was originally edited. So some dizzying highs, terrifying lows, and creamy middles for the person Warrior and the character Warrior, uppercase and lowercase W's. A comic book superhero come to life, a colourful, muscle-bound madman who is iconic, inimitable, who preached show no mercy, for your greatness will silence them all, and taught us to always believe. And some other things I can't repeat. Steve, you got time for Nitro? Part 2, Warrior Farewell, which I think is a better title than Nitro and Thunder after Halloween Havoc. 82 minutes long, how about that? I wonder if you could tell that this and Halloween Havoc were recorded back to back in the same sitting. That's why I'm doing all the deleted scenes together. Since the main review is done, you might notice that this one has a much more relaxed feel because it kind of pressures off as the pay-per-view session went well. If it was like 20 minutes long, I'd have integrated it into the Halloween Havoc episode, but it ended up being 1 hour 48 and Warrior Farewell 1 hour 22, so definitely make it its own video. The positive of splitting them up is that we can do another tattoo review. Jojo Paragon's Whopper stable. All TNA boy stable. He actually edited his own stable review and I was going to splice it, but he took it down. I think he's updated it since. Mate, if you've made a new finalised one, link it in the comments and I'll sticky it. Mike J. Larson did the artwork of Warrior Walking Away, a take on the famous Spider-Man Walking Away panel. It's It's crazy as other wrestlers, like this is quite famous, but other wrestlers have also parodied it. Look, oh, there's AJ Lee and CM Punk. Have a look here. Mike also did our King of the Ring 94 artwork with Owen and Art Donovan. Very talented fella. Is he another artist? He looks like a businessman. Ruben Rodriguez turned it into a comic animation, adding the rain and SFX, and amazing job, and congrats on your National Geographic gig, brother. That's the problem with working with really talented folks. They're always bloody busy being successful all the time. Love you, brother. Mike Larson did a fantastic job. You should hire him if he's available. Something that didn't come into play much in this arc is that Butts in the Seat podcast, great guys, actually did a quarterly side-by-side Raw Nitro segment, so you'd know what was happening on each station live as it happened at the time. Great guys. I couldn't find a way to naturally integrate it into this show in a proper segment, but I did get to use it throughout Warrior Farewell, like showing what was going on when DDP and Goldberg were wrestling and what was going on the Raw side of things. But you can read their fine work here, link in the description.
I am the Warrior! Yes, you are!
Side note, showing Nitro vs. Raw was also a handy way of editing around the recap of Halloween Havoc 98, as it's still footage of the pay-per-view, meaning it'll get blocked immediately and you have to fight and appeal with YouTube. And I didn't want to have to fight hard for a Nitro review. Usually WWE are fine with TV footage, so Raw, Nitro, Saturday night's main event and stuff, but ultra stingy with pay-per-view footage. Like, you used 5 seconds of it, that kind of thing. With Judy Bagwell on screen, we somehow worked our way into an NWO Golden Girls, which is just a theme song we love singing. Making black and white video footage of this, it was amazing. I loved it.
Waka wow.
Warrior!
Bang, bang. I am the warrior. That edit was by Jeff Cerberus, who did a stellar job being the primary editor for this Nitro. Love working with him. He's the type of guy who'd ask for more time on an edit because he's got these great ideas, but he needs time to bring them to life, which I love hearing. That's music to my ears. That means he's fully engaged and wants the best episode out there. Since OSWs are a collaboration and iterative efforts of multiple people, kind of jokes and ideas, editing just layer and layer on before the final cut, hopefully you can feel that when you watch the show, a lot of love is being put into it. Yeah,
bastards.
Really, yeah, really angry that they're not.
I made the BBC.
Goodbye.
By the way, the Warrior Farewell episode has snippets of Warrior's Shoot DVD talking about WCW throughout. I thought it was a nice way for a breather, a joke, and to remind you that the topic is Warrior. I do like these kind of intro shoot snippets, like how we did one for Joey Styles for the ECW on Sci-Fi episode. It sets the scene well.
WWE's version of ECW that was launched in 2006 sucked. It sucked from the very beginning.
Thunder! Man, aren't these lightning 3D render logos cool? The Thunder logo was actually from our WCW arc, done by our boy Fizz. Longtime fan, friend of the show, does amazing work. He's doing a ton of Botchamania thumbnails at the Mo. And Ruben turned them into animations, so man, very cool. Banyabat from Donegal was the primary editor for Thunder. Very cool working with him. You might know him from editing audio commentaries into video for Red Letter Media. Browns and birds, Earth Tones people. Super talented editor. I got onto him as a fan of his Red Letter Media editing. And awesome, he's a fan and he's available. Oh, sweet. But he's too busy working. It's difficult to catch him during a quiet moment. So I work with him when I can. He's got 2 of my favourite editing gags in this. Jericho's 99 debut, one of the absolute greatest debuts in wrestling history. The best, maybe? Comment below what can top it. And mix that with Tough Tom of Disorderly Conduct. Amazing. I fucking flipped seeing it. Aldi brand nasty boys, aka unpleasant young men. Nasty, unpleasant boys, young men. 100% organic jobbers, no added potential. My other favourite of his editing gags was during the PWO, the Pepe World Order segment. We got around to me kind of cringing at my dad being present in the room while watching Jeff Jarrett on a horse on Raw. And afterwards he spliced the King of the Hill pilot. Hank's listening to Bobby's rap tape, but he dubbed in Jeff Jarrett's theme. Died. Side note, Hank would probably have loved Jarrett's country theme song. The video, 100% unwatchable now.
Mother of God, it's all toilet sounds.
Ooh, you can see me experimenting with green screen and keying out with the Mario Randy Orton finish. I don't think it's particularly good on Power Director, but hey, here you go. Oh man, trying to make something out of Scott Hall versus Steve Armstrong. Like nothing happens in the match. Slap the jobber around. But I like to have some kind of talking point in every match. I mean, we can't just marvel at men who are naked but are wearing clothes. I love that, by the way. Such a preposterous discussion. And the censoring of the knees, brilliant. So I explained the fabled Armstrong curse. There's a great write-up about it by Ring the Damn Bell. Give them a follow on Twitter. They always have loads of interesting articles. They're great. Final bout is Raven versus Giant in a tables match. Like, okay, one's a mid-carder opening act and the other is around the main event. So you know exactly what's going to happen and how. Like, Raven goes through a table. So at least we can make a thing of it with a fun Photoshop. Oh, someone was asking me if we can talk longer about like actually reviewing the matches, and it's like I do try to put in all of the points in the match. Like I don't leave anything out. It's just nothing happens because the attitude era. It's mostly rest holds. The matches are horrible mostly, you know. And we see the episode out with Horace Hogan backstage blast. I love the kind of dot matrix printer noise. Brilliant.
Where all of a sudden did this come to fruition?
No, we're not worried. Our customers buy Hogan for its robust taste, not its alcoholic content. I predict our new alcohol-free
Horace Hogan
will sell even better than our previous brand. Well, that's the end of me.
And chin, that is that for the end of the Warrior Arc deleted scenes. You can catch the rest of the videos, link in the description. Next up is a quickie dive into Girls Gone Wild. Call Mario Lopez and saddle up your boys for that one. And you can watch more of our deleted scenes, just clicky in the link below, and there's obviously like a topic that you can click in Patreon. They're terrible for it. Like just the layout is horrible, but I'll also link it in the post. Thank you so much for supporting us, lads. Really appreciate it. I hope you can tell, like I try to put my absolute like love and effort and like the sum of all my talent into a show that you can watch, and I hope that comes across, you know. I wouldn't still be doing this. We wouldn't still be doing this if it wasn't for you. Thank you so much. So see you in the funny pages, and remember, a winner is you.